The United States is bankrupt, and they're now talking about minting a $1 trillion platinum coin. What does it mean for us? That's a really good question and exactly what I want to focus on right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, the debt ceiling issue is yet again upon us, and the United States is on the brink of default. What does that mean? It simply means the United States is completely 100% broke and they have no money to pay all the bills. Therefore, they are now floating the idea yet again of minting a one-time $1 trillion platinum coin. In fact, I have one because I made it myself. Right here, this guy, 1 trillion smackers. Now, I'm just kidding. It's actually not a $1 trillion platinum coin. It's actually a silver American Eagle, and it's worth about $33. So, yeah, sorry, a far cry from 1 trillion. However, it'd be pretty cool to have it, right? Anyway, I'm just being silly here. But no, seriously, it's a silver coin that I literally just play around with as I talk. But my point is, they want to make a coin literally that would look just like this, but they would put a $1 trillion value on it. Crazy, right? Now, what would be the whole purpose of printing this $1 trillion coin? Literally, the whole point of it would be they would mint the coin and then they'd put it in a vault somewhere, and then this would give the ability of the Federal Reserve to print $1 trillion and basically use it for the government to pay all the bills. Now, why would they do this? It seems like a little bit of a phony game, right? Well, it pretty much is, to be real with you. But the whole fact of the matter is, they literally just print money all the time. So we are rapidly approaching the debt ceiling, $31.4 trillion of national debt in this country. And we actually had this same issue a little over a year ago in late 2021 when we were approaching the debt ceiling at the same time. Do you remember all of that? Through the course of 2021, we heard all this back and forth with Congress saying, we got to do something about the debt ceiling. We heard all this talk out of the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, and we heard all of these different details coming out saying, we're going to default, we're going broke, we got to print some money, we got to do something, it's going down, right? Well, they talked about printing a $1 trillion coin back then as well. Obviously, they never did it because the Congress came together and they came forward on some concessions to make sure that the federal government did not actually default. So we did not default at that time. Well, now we're back in the same situation yet again. They raised the debt ceiling back then a little over a year ago, and here we are. They spent all this money yet again, and we are now rapidly approaching the debt ceiling. In fact, Janet Yellen was just out saying that the Treasury is going to be implementing some special accounting maneuvers to avoid a potential breach on the debt limit. In other words, they're going to be playing some funny games behind the scenes there so that we don't actually breach the debt limit here in this country and actually go into basically default is basically what it comes down to. So now you might be wondering, what does this really mean though? Is the country really broke? Dude, the country is super broke. The country has no money at all, right? The United States is completely broke, even though they talk about the United States being the most affluent country, country in the world. Okay, fine, but we have $31.5 trillion in debt, okay? So basically what it comes down to is the United States government does not have the money to pay the bills. So what they do is they print money. And again, that's the whole purpose of the $1 trillion platinum coin is, again, they basically mint the coin, and then it gives the ability for the Federal Reserve to print the money because, now they have a $1 trillion coin that they literally just minted out of thin air, and now it has a $1 trillion value. They stick it in a vault, and then again, the Federal Reserve says, thank you so much. We will take this now $1 trillion coin, and we will print $1 trillion in fake money, and then we'll give it to them as a result of the deposit of the $1 trillion platinum coin. Kind of makes sense? Seems like a little bit of a board game or like a video game or something completely unreal. Well, it pretty much is, but really they're making it real, okay? It's basically what it comes down to. Anyway, so the whole deal with this is we've got to wait for Congress to do something about this. So it's the whole ball is in the court of Congress right now if they want to do something about the debt ceiling. However, if they do not do something about the debt ceiling, that's when this whole backup would come in of the $1 trillion platinum coin. So we'll actually have to see what Congress has to do here about this whole thing. But if the United States actually did go into default, in other words, we stop paying all of our bills because they don't have any money to pay the bills, in the event that would actually happen, it would be probably a pretty bad situation, okay? Now, what would actually happen? Well, we'd probably see the stock market, the crypto market, we'd probably see all of these different markets out there pretty much fall off of a cliff at that point, because all of the credibility of the United States to pay our bills on time and actually pay our bills like we've said that we're supposed to do, all that credibility would pretty much be gone, because it's pretty much the same thing with us, the consumers, all of us, and say like our utility bills, our credit card bills, all the things like that. If we don't have the money, what do? Well, we unfortunately cannot print a $1 trillion coin like they can and just print money out of thin air, but rather we default, right? In the event that we can no longer pay our bills, we would then go into a default type of situation. For example, let me give you an example like a mortgage, for example. Same thing happens with a mortgage as what they're playing with right now on a much, much larger scale. They're talking about trillions of dollars. We're talking about, I don't know, a couple $100,000 maybe, right? Let me give you this example for you. Let's just say that somebody has a mortgage, right? They're paying their mortgage, and all of a sudden something comes up where they're no longer to pay their mortgage, right? Something happened, their income dried up, or their expenses have exceeded their income and they're no longer able to pay their mortgage. Well, what happens? All of a sudden they look at the accounts and they think, uh-oh, I can't make the payment this month. Same thing's happening with the federal government. They don't have the money. They're looking at the accounts and saying, uh-oh, our debt liabilities are coming up here and we don't have the money to pay it. So what can we do? Well, the major difference is for us, the consumer, unfortunately, we got to figure out a way to get some money real fast. We cannot hit the printing press like they can and just print up money out of thin air, but rather we actually have to do something to get money, right? So as a result of that, let's just say that in this example I'm giving, the person cannot find the money and unfortunately they can't pay the bill. Well, now they've gone into default, right? So now they're late, they're delinquent on their bill, and then it goes into default, right? Which is now the bank may start the foreclosure process, right? So it's basically what happens. And in this sense, the person in this case, in this example that I'm giving on the mortgage, is they've kind of lost their credibility, right? The bank looks at their situation and thinks, this person is no longer credible. This person has no longer maintained our trust because we can't trust them anymore. They've lost their credibility because they did not pay their bill, right? They didn't pay the bill on time. They're delinquent, and now they're 30 days late. They're 60 days late. They're 90 days late. They've missed a couple payments, and now, well, all credibility is essentially gone. The credit score for that person has gone way down because, in the eyes of the bank, they can't be trusted anymore. And again, I know this is a situation for a lot of people, but unfortunately, this is how it happens for the federal government as well. If the federal government goes into default, in other words, can't pay the bills, what happens? Well, the credibility of the United States to borrow money is no longer there, right? Other countries and where we borrow money from may look like, well, we can't trust you anymore because, you've defaulted on your loans. You've defaulted on your bills. You haven't paid your bills on time, right? So again, it's not a good situation. We want to have high credibility. Just like the federal government wants to have credibility paying bills on time, paying bills in full, things like this. It's the same thing with all of us, the consumers. We want to make sure that we're trying to pay our bills on time whenever we can. We want to make sure that we're paying our bills, in our fullest capacity, things like this, right? Because it's very important to have that credibility. So that's what it comes down to with the debt ceiling here. That's the showdown in Congress as well. So we'll see if they actually come together and actually do something about this. But again, the whole idea behind this is Congress is supposed to figure this out. If they don't figure it out, well then that's when this whole $1 trillion platinum coin would come into play. Now again, will they actually do that? Not really sure. I'm not really sure if they're going to print the platinum coin or not, but that would be a last-ditch effort. In the event that Congress does not come together to raise the debt ceiling, well, then they're going to come forward and do the coin, most likely. Will they get to that point? They might. I'm not really sure. We won't really know that until we get down to the last minutes. Right before they literally go into default, they'll probably say, all right, whip out the minting machine, whatever it happens to be, and they will literally mint that coin. But that'll be probably, like I said, a last-ditch effort. But this is the reality of it, right? So just like we learn in school and just like we learn from our parents and we learn from everybody else who tries to mentor us as we're growing up as little kids and things like this, make sure to manage your money, right? Make sure that you're not spending more, make sure that you have enough money coming in and you can pay all your bills and stuff like this. All the basic stuff that we learn as we're growing up, right? Well, guess what? the government doesn't even do it, right? So how are we supposed to follow by example if what we're seeing is not even being done, right? So anyway, this is the situation that we're dealing with right now, and this is the whole situation that we saw back, a little over a year ago in late 2021, the showdown between Congress, and here we are. They kicked the can down the road, and all they're going to do this time is, guess what? They're going to kick the can down the road again if they come together and do some kind of deal. But we'll see. But like I said, Janet Yellen already indicated January 19th is when the Treasury is going to start doing some of these special accounting maneuvers. I don't know. Sounds very suspicious to me. I'm just saying right now, right? Sounds like some funny business going on. But anyway, special accounting maneuvers, whatever those happen to be, to make sure that we do not default and or basically breach the debt limit, which would not be a good thing. In other words, no money. They don't have it. So they got to print it. So unlike us, sure would be nice if we all had our own little printing press, right? Oh, hey, can't pay the bills this month. I'm just going to print up about $1,000. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, unfortunately, that's not for us. We can't do that. Otherwise, we'd find ourselves in a little cement room, I think, is what it is, right? So anyway, we don't want to do that stuff, but they can't, right? Funny how the game has changed, and funny how the rules are written for some and the rules are non-existent for others. I don't know. Just saying, right? But this is what it comes down to for the debt limit and what they're now talking about. But we'll have to see here what happens, and I'll keep you posted. But it's going to be very interesting here. It's going to be very dramatic. I can tell you this much. Between Congress, there's going to be a lot of drama thrown down. Either way, I'll keep you posted, but I want to bring this to your attention. We may be in for some pretty interesting times, to say the least here, over the coming days, weeks here, as we get right into the closing time here on this debt ceiling showdown. So I hope this kind of explains a little bit further to get you a better understanding of what's going on here and what this means for all of us, the American people, as well as the country as a whole. It would not necessarily be a good thing to default, but it probably is not out of the realm of a possibility. So just saying, it could happen, but we'll see here. Anyway, I'll keep you posted as I do get more information. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, and I'll catch you again later in the